What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. As I told you that I probably wasn't going to watch this fight tonight live, I did not do that. I went out drinking instead. Came back, and I watched the fight just because I recorded it just to talk to y'all and, you know what I mean? Hopefully get past this bullshit chapter and see some real fights. So I watched it. I will honestly say I am most happy for Danny Jacobs. He's had a long road, battling cancer, coming back, just building himself back up. I really respect his grind, and it was good to see him get that win and get that W in the fashion that he did with the stoppage. As far as the Lamont Peterson fight, it was entertaining. Like I enjoyed myself. It was very one sided. Um, Ultimately, it's just I'm not that impressed. Like if he was boxing somebody that I respected, and he was doing that, like the shoe shining, the showboating, I think he boxed beautifully in round two and some other rounds. He showed a lot of variety in his arsenal, but you had him in there against a fucking Puerto Rican drug dealer or some shit. They said, meet up, please, huh? They had him in there against Lil Scarface and shit. And this dude was 35 years old, which we all know in boxing is old. He was mad sloppy and just like wow with his shots, like just real crazy. There was a hint of Marcos Maidana, but he just didn't have any technique. Like you can fight bums, and if you have that kind of awkward style and you can crack a bit, yeah, you can get some guys out of there, and that's how he built up. It looks like he built up his KO percentage. But the dude got in trouble with the law, went to Rikers Island, did some time, lifted weights in Rikers and shit, and he's been on a long hiatus. So I just can't respect that as a solid win. And it's unfortunate because I thought Lamont Peterson looked good when he was in his last fight against Thierry Jean. That makes sense. That guy was undefeated. Thierry Jean was a power puncher as well. I give him all the credit in the world for fights like that, but it's just hard for me to praise Lamont Peterson and say, oh, he'll beat Lucas Matisse in a rematch or beat Danny Garcia or beat anybody, you know what I mean, top. It's that's the thing with tonight's fucked up card is not including Danny Jacobs, but Lamont Peterson's bout and Danny Garcia's bout. It's hard to use it as a barometer because again, it's easy to look spectacular when you're in there with stiffs or again like a Edgar Santana, a guy with power. It looks like he has power, but he doesn't have the technique. There's no finesse to it. He was just walking like people take like walking an opponent down. They take that shit literal because he was really walking him down, but he wasn't doing anything and he wasn't countering. And he had Lamont Peterson fighting like he was the big puncher. I don't know. Maybe Peterson watched some Leo Santa Cruz fights or Canelo versus Edislandi Lara before he went out there, but he was just cracking and just chopping to the body. And he had Peterson just dogging him and bullying him. And Santana is supposed to be the power puncher. That's not a good sign when you got someone who's a mediocre puncher at best and just more of a boxer. And they're walking you down and like fearless and not worried. And like Paulie Malignaggi said, it was because Santana wasn't capitalizing. He didn't give Lamont Peterson really anything to respect. And again, the guy's 35, long hiatus, jail stint. He wasn't active by any means, and I think he was sloppy. Like his technique was sloppy. So it's hard to give me or to give. It's hard for me to give Lamont Peterson too much praise. I think he looked good, and I like the variety in his arsenal. But again, it's based on who you're in there with. Like same thing with Danny Garcia. So fast forward to the main event. Danny Garcia, he completely did what he wanted. He looked huge next to Rod Salka. I already knew what time it was. You got a guy moving up in weight. The fight's happening at a catch weight, which was higher than 140. So everything was stacked against Rod Salka. Now people were like, oh, he has elements of Mauricio Herrera. Mauricio Herrera is a vet. He's been in there with big punchers, perhaps even bigger punchers than Danny Garcia, like a Ruslan Provatnikov, maybe even Kareem Mayfield. I don't know who hits harder. I've never been hit by Mayfield and Herrera and Danny Garcia. But Herrera has veteran experience. Rod Salka, who's his biggest fight? Who's his biggest win? You know what I'm saying? So he didn't have that experience. He really had no advantage. The crowd was mostly pro Garcia because it's on the East Coast. He's a Philly fighter and he's made Barclay appearances. The fight was held at a catch weight. Rod Salka looks like real small compared to him. I just ultimately can't give Danny Garcia much props. He has a highlight reel knockout. He did it in 2 rounds, but it's not like he did. If he did that to Chris Algieri or somebody, I'd be like, okay, I respect that because Chris Algieri's undefeated. He has the range, and you know what I mean. He showed very good technique and boxing ability in his last fight with Ruslan Provodnikov. If he did that to Hank Lundy, if he did that to Mauricio Herrera in a rematch, I would give Danny Garcia nothing but props. If he did that to Lamont Peterson, but you did it to Rod Salka, a guy in a lower weight division. There was no titles on the line because the fucking nobody would sanction this bullshit fight. So they moved the contest up in weight. Rod Salka had no chance. And not to mention, at his lower weight division at 135, he had no punching power. He had like single digit KOs and he has over 20 fights or whatever. He didn't have punching power at 135. So you did anyone really think he was going to pull the upset and outbox Danny Garcia, who is a good boxer puncher and a good counter puncher? It's just, I can't give him that much credit. Hopefully we get something better next go around. Lamont Peterson, Danny Garcia, Mauricio Herrera rematch, a Lucas Matisse rematch. Let it be something credible. Or if Danny Garcia really is feeling himself and he thinks he look real sharp, and he can transition that to anybody, because he said at the end of the post fight that it doesn't matter the opponent. It does matter the fucking opponent. Go and do that to Lucas Matisse and just ice him in 2 rounds, and then I'll give you all the credit in the world. Do that to John Molina. Just walk him down like it ain't shit, and I will give you all the props, because John Molina can crack. Lucas Matisse can crack. You know what I mean? You're not going to just walk him down and have no fear and just throw no caution to the wind. That's not how boxing works. So, again, I can't really give the main event or a co-main event too much props because, yeah, they look good, they look sharp, but who do they look good and who do they look sharp against? Nobody's. Let me know what you guys think if you did watch this shit. What do you want to see next? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like the video. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.